Oh my God, I haven't done this in so long. So I used to record videos for you guys every single day. I used to come to the office every single morning and post on YouTube like an unedited 10-minute video of everything we were doing that day, leadership thoughts, and I haven't done it in literally forever. So I'm gonna sit down, I'm in this gorgeous hotel, 100 Shoreditch it's called, if you don't know, get to know. It's my favourite hotel in London. I've stayed here probably like 10 times now because it's so central. It's also, they do really good midweek deals and it's just very safe, very clean and very lovely if you want to film anything. So I'm gonna take a pew right here on this bed and give you a massive update of everything that's going on. I'm talking like wedding, personal life, business, team, product, emotions, because there's a lot of those. So yeah, grab a bloody cuppa and come and join me. I do also have room service being delivered at some point in the next 20 minutes, so we may be eating that together too. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is the business, Fresh Leadership World. So we are officially closing up our second year. So we end our second financial year next month. We have doubled the business revenue, pretty much. In fact, more than doubled the business revenue. We have obviously brought in a new team member now, Tisha, who is doing incredibly well. And so the core team is now in place. We've got Levi, who's doing ops. She kind of runs the business behind the scenes. So she's doing all of our data, funnel, pipeline, setting up new systems, AI whiz, all of that jazz. And then we've got Tisha, who is running social media, so completely running everything, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, right from kind of ideation all the way up to editing and posting. So we've got some big jobs, but we've got an incredible team doing them. And then most of my work is client delivery and obviously delivery of education as well. So the main thing that I like put my time and effort into now is the newsletter into In the Making. That has been such a like stunning, beautiful labor of love. And I think it's made me realize that I love writing. Like I love writing so much. And it's definitely the place, it's kind of like our core community. You know, we get so many comments every week, so many replies, so many messages. And it's just this opportunity where I can like go deeper with people. So if you're not subscribed to In the Making yet, it's just my newsletter. It's completely free. We've got almost 30,000 people now subscribed, which is crazy because we started it just under 3 years ago. And for the first 6 months, it was like nothing. It was just completely flatlined for 6 months. We maybe had 50 to 100 subscribers. And then all of a sudden it just kind of hockey sticked growth grew. And yeah, we now are just growing week on week, month on month. And so the business now very much looks like we have some kind of big income streams. So Fresh Start, being our 6-week bootcamp for brand new managers, is one of our biggest income streams. We only run that twice a year and we only let 150 managers into each cohort. The reason we capped the cohorts is just because I wanted to ensure it's a very like personalized service. I know what people think about courses. I know how people feel about online courses. However, I have never felt more confident about a product in my entire life. Like the feedback we get from Fresh Start is insane. And it's because the 6 weeks that we're together in that bootcamp, that cohort, it is the most strongly ingrained community of managers who are all looking to achieve the exact same things. We have the same struggles, the same goals, the same dreams, the same hopes, and we come together. So we have a Slack community. We're constantly posting our struggles, our wins, helping each other. We also have weekly Q&As. We have 2 a week actually, where everyone comes together and we discuss like our biggest struggles, etc. And then of course we have like the learnings. And so that's Fresh Start. So Fresh Start is one of our biggest money generators. We also have the workshops. So I'm in London today. I'm delivering a workshop tomorrow to an agency called Pixel Artwork. I'm excited because it's focused all around OKRs. So OKRs, objectives and key results. If you know what they are, you probably have like a slightly difficult opinion on OKRs, but most people who've tried to do OKRs just overcomplicate it so much. And OKRs are like a goal-setting framework. So Google used them in the 90s, then eventually they started to get used by massive companies like LinkedIn, Spotify, Uber, Apple, all use OKRs as a goal-setting framework inside the business. And now, like so many startups use them, we use them at Go Proposal. And so tomorrow, I'm bringing that OKR framework into my client's business and working with their SLT, their senior leadership team, set the objectives for their next financial year, but then also create the framework by which their team will now all contribute towards the company goals over the next year. So it's kind of a new piece of work for me. I've ran it inside my own businesses for a long time, like inside Fresh Leadership World, but also inside Go Proposal and eventually inside Sage as well. I've never installed the framework in another business, so I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. I've just been going back through the deck, just making sure that I really know my shit, because it is, I'm refreshing my knowledge on this. So excited for that. So we've got Fresh Start workshops. The next one is social media brand deals. So this isn't something that I'll do forever. However, it is great to just we get to work with so many brilliant companies. Like last year, we got to do a great campaign with Adobe, Max Klemenko from the Career Ladder. We worked with Notion, Canva, like so many businesses that, I don't know, I just love to be aligned with their brands and do the work with them. And it is big money. I can get paid anywhere from 5 to 20 grand for doing these brand deals. And it's a really important way for me to keep getting that cash into the business to then invest in what's coming next, which I'm going to tell you about very soon, because we've got some big ass changes on the horizon for the business that we've been working on in secret for the last 4 to 5 months, and we're finally ready to start talking about them, which is kind of one of the reasons prompted me to do this video, because I realized that we've been so private, like I've been doing things so behind the scenes, and you might not think it, like you might see me posting about workshops, posting about public speaking gigs, posting about social media, whatever. There's so much that we've been hiding. And then on the public speaking front, let's just update you on that, because one of my big goals has been to, I guess, improve my public speaking, deliver my talks in a more impactful way, so on just better stages with more niche groups, so groups that are very specific to leadership, women at work, teams within corporates, these big conferences. And so over the course of 2025, I really worked to flex my public speaking muscle, because it's something I do think I was always naturally terrified of it. There's a stat that's 75% of people are more scared of public speaking than they are of death. And I think if you'd have asked me 5 years ago, I'd have been like, oh yeah, that's maybe not death, but I don't think I'd be good at it. But then I've just practiced and practiced and practiced. And I also did the TEDx talk. That was the most nervous I've ever been for a talk ever. It was a massive dream bucket list thing for me. And I'm going to apply for some more as well. So if anyone listening has any TEDx connections, let me know, because I'm definitely going to apply for another TEDx. I think when I did that, I loved it. It was a really powerful and important topic for me to talk about, but I was just overtaken with nerves, I'll be completely honest. But then in the world of public speaking, I've just been booked for another massive public speaking gig in a country far away. This is the furthest I've ever been flown for a public speaking gig, and it's happening in May. I'm not going to tell you where it is or what it's for, but it is bougie. All I'll say is it's bougie, and it's something that even 2-3 years ago, Heather would just not have believed you would be happening. You will obviously get all the details when I show you that, but I feel like it's just, flexing that muscle, really putting in the work to make sure that I am an excellent public speaker, that my topics just convey the inspiration and the tools and systems that I need my audience to get from me, but also then talking about that online and kind of, I don't know, selling myself, because that always feels a little bit awkward. But I've made sure that I've really put a spotlight on those talks right up to getting booked by this incredible, it's a conference, I'll give you that, it's a conference. And it's also from my new speaker agency. So I signed with a speaker agency earlier this year, Kruger Krone, who represents some of the biggest talent in the world. And so this is the first one that they've booked for me, and I am excited and nervous in equal parts. I'll tell you more about that next month when it happens. So I'm gonna jump to something more personal now, which is wedding. So I'm getting married in September. It's 5 and a bit months. And I, honestly, for someone who is very type A, I would say I would definitely associate more with being type A. I think for the wedding, I've really had to practice letting go of things, because there's just so many things outside of your control. So we're getting married in Spain, in Seville, which is just an incredibly romantic, beautiful Spanish city. And because it's abroad, there's so many things that I've had to let go of. And so obviously I have a spreadsheet, I have, trackers, etc. But I really have had to just kind of leave things in the hands of the suppliers, because a lot of them don't speak English. A lot of them, it's we're just not there. We don't know all the customs. And so I'm kind of just letting them go ahead with it. The wedding and marriage, I always thought I was someone who would never get married. I think when I was younger, maybe, I would look at the big white dress and think, oh, that looks beautiful, princess fairy tale or whatever. But as I kind of moved through my teens and definitely in my 20s, I always thought I will not be someone who gets married. And I think the reason for that is I used to see marriage as, why would you like tie yourself to this person? It almost feels like you then don't carry on like working on the relationship. And I think my relationships throughout my early 20s specifically, if I look back on them, like I always felt this sense of anxiety and dread that maybe that they would leave, or that even that the spark would die out and I would get fed up and I would leave, and always like went into relationships fearful, just constantly fearful that I was gonna be left or like I wasn't enough. It definitely like, I definitely just didn't value myself in those relationships at all. I didn't think I was as worthy as I wish I could kind of go back and tell my younger self. And so when I thought about marriage, I was kind of like, yeah, but it almost feels like I'm just tying myself to someone just to say, now we have to be together for life and we don't need to communicate as healthily anymore, because if we have an argument, who cares, because we're just married, so like we'll just not break up. I don't know why I had such a cynical view on it. I think as well, like when you look at the divorce statistics, they are pretty miserable. But then I just met someone who I think I started to see the idea of marriage as like, but I want to share life with you in a way that feels so much more formal. Is that the right word? Like I want it to feel, I got excited at the idea of actually like combining everything that I've built and that they've built and that Shah's built and bringing it into this like one family unit. I don't know, I can't explain it. And so anyway, the wedding is in September. We're trying to go like very funky. Obviously I'm marrying a woman, so I'm gonna have a wife. And so our wedding anyway is very untraditional because there's two of us brides, but we're trying to really like question a lot of the wedding norms. So even things like a first dance, I still haven't decided yet if we're gonna do a first dance. I sent a voice note to all the girls the other week and I was like, is it weird? Like some of them are married, some of them are getting married, some of them aren't. And I was like, is it weird to do a first dance? Because everyone's just staring at you dancing, you know, like I love a boogie, but not a formal choreographed, I don't know. And I was like, is it weird, or will I be sad if I like don't do that moment? So anyone, if you've got married, you've done a first dance, let me know what your experience was. Is it awkward and weird, or is it just in the moment you're so happy and romantic that you don't really think about all the eyes on you expecting you to like be emotional and do this dance? I don't know, I would love to hear, because I still haven't decided on that one. We've got the most gorgeous venue in the world. I will show you everything, but also we're doing a welcome party. We also obviously have to have like our official marriage in the UK. I have blown the budget by probably double, and I actually don't know at this point. All the invoices are starting to come through and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have to now like find this money. I'm gonna have to like pull this from places. And so it's starting to get to that point. To anyone who's been married, and a lot of my friends have given me this advice as well, like this is the point where things start to feel really fucking real, because it starts to, the money comes in. So I can't say that I'm stressed about the wedding because I've really forced myself to let go. I'm obsessed with my dress. I can't wait to show you it. I just love it. I never thought I'd find a wedding dress that I love, because I would see all the ones online, and I love weddings. I love other people's weddings. I love being nosy. I love going to them. I love small details. Like I love flowers. I love flowers so fucking much. So I loved all these details, but I couldn't see me in it. I could never see me. I was like, you look beautiful. Those flowers are amazing. That venue is amazing, but I just couldn't picture me. And so then I went to, I'm not gonna tell you where I got my dress from because it will give it away, because it's just a very well-known designer, but I'm just obsessed with it. And the bridal designer who was like, have I already posted it on Instagram? No, I haven't. Anyway, I'll keep that a secret. So September, wedding. Excited. And also I keep seeing TikToks that are like, imagine what women could achieve if they had a wife at home. And I always want to comment and be like, yeah, you could achieve a lot if you have a wife at home, like trust me. I genuinely believe my biggest unfair advantage in business and life is the fact that I have a wife. Will have a wife, have a girlfriend at home. And I say this to let you know that if you're a wife or a girlfriend, just know your fucking worth, because you bring so much to a household. The main thing being like the emotional labor, like the labor of remembering. So I'll just give you an example. Shah and I were away last week. We were dog sitting for her sister while they were skiing. So we were staying at her sister's house all week. We took a big suitcase, took everything to her house last week. We then travelled back on Sunday morning, so yesterday morning, came back to our house. We had this big suitcase. I had to go out and meet my friends, went to my friend's engagement party. Shah was at home for like the first part of the morning. I got back, Shah had taken out everything out of the suitcase, washed every item of clothing that needed washing, put my clean clothes away, cleaned the house, hoovered the house, taken the bins out, put my book, this was the bit that made me be like, oh, this really is just too sweet. She'd like got my books and that I'd been reading and put them on the side of my bed, just ready for me to read when I got into bed that evening. And she'd just done everything. And it's not actually the doing that's the laborious part. It is, and it's obviously really fucking helpful, but it's the fact that I didn't even have to ask. And it's the fact that like I come home then from seeing my friends after a week away and I need to get stuck into work in the evening and like do emails and get ready for the rest of the week. And I come home and the house is clean, the house is tidy, the suitcase is packed away. She's booked the car in for an MOT, taken it for an MOT this morning, sent me the message to say, oh, the car's passed the MOT. Like all of this has been done without me even having to blink, to even think about it. I didn't even know the car needed an MOT. And it's like having a wife at home really is the unfair advantage. And just to let you know, like I'm not a slob. We do these things very much 50-50. But even 50% of it is a crazy amount of it. And I think I say this because I do have a lot of women in my audience. I think my audience is about 80% women. And I just want to let you know that if that's you, if you're playing that role, whilst also most of you are in big careers, kind of careers where your career is a huge part of your life, you care about it, you want to succeed, you want to continue putting lots of effort in, please just know that you do a fucking lot. And just make sure that you know the value of that. And then when on a Sunday evening, you feel stressed, you feel like you've not had chance to clean, you know, the house is a mess. And don't even get me started on if you have children in this equation. Obviously that adds a whole nother layer of craziness to it. But if you are kind of getting to the Monday morning or the Sunday evening, you feel stressed, you've got all these things piling up, like sadly is the norm for women. And it's because of this like emotional labor, like the remembering. And I don't know how to fix it. I mean, I do actually, you could come to our side. But if you can't do that, or even if there's just 1%, I would encourage you to just explore it. But if you can't do that, then just know how valuable it is what you bring to the household. Because yeah, I see it in a lot of people in my life. I think they don't quite realize just how fucking valuable it is what they bring to the household, never mind the actual career and the money making and the rest of it. So please just know that. Another big update, so if you were on my webinar 2 weeks ago, you will have been the very first to hear this, but I'm not actually gonna give you too much detail right now. We are launching a brand new product. I am going back into the SaaS world, so SaaS, software as a service. SaaS has been my bread and butter for a very long time. I fell into it completely accidentally with like a music marketing SaaS business that I used to work in London. I then moved to GoProposal. GoProposal was a software business. We sold pricing and proposal and engagement software to accountants. And then Sage, obviously when we sold to Sage, we moved into like big tech, big software. And Sage had multiple different products that I kind of worked across. And the reason that, and I'm coming back to the SaaS world, so I do think SaaS is where I can have the most impact with my vision. So my vision, as you guys know, is to build a world where everyone loves the work that they do. And we do that by training as many managers in these really solid leadership principles so that they can in turn create a world where their team love the work that they do. You know that this is a very personal mission for me because my career was kind of in two halves whereby I just hated my job. I hated from the ages of like 17 all the way up to probably 23, 24. I was miserable at work and I became a shell of myself, and it was because those jobs that I was in just had no psychological safety, no autonomy, no creativity to experiment, no freedom to experiment. And I am someone who is such a hard worker. I give everything to everything that I do. If it's not a fuck yes, it's a fuck no. And so I'm very good when I'm in. And even as someone who gives their absolute fucking everything to work, got squashed in those environments. So I got squashed in those environments because they were just unsafe and really difficult to work in. And then I moved to GoProposal, had an incredible boss, an incredible team around me, and we built that business from the ground up to over 2 million in revenue and then eventually sold it into Sage. But what was so powerful for me personally was just moving into that job, being around high performers, like people who were just as fucking passionate about what they did as I was, but also wanted, you know, we were happy to make mistakes, like we were creative, gave each other feedback all the time in the moment, and even pissed each other off, we just liked each other really quickly so that we could get over it and move on. And I think part of it was just the fact that we were forced to because we were in such a small space together. And it was like before COVID, so there was no working from home. We were in the office every day, and we had a very small office in Manchester city centre. And so we kind of had no choice, like give each other really honest feedback, because if someone was pissed off, you'd know about it. None of this hiding behind Teams and kind of aggressive Slack messages. Like if someone was annoyed, you'd know about it. And so we got very good at being so honest. As I moved through, so it was just the catalyst for so much change in my life. I left a relationship that I wasn't happy in, finally came out to my parents. I was 25, met the woman of my dreams, also started going to the gym all the time, like just valuing my health and fitness and my body and my mind, and stopped drinking much. I don't say stop drinking, I do still drink, but stopped drinking as much. Like I was really not taking care of myself at that phase of life. I was the classic, like till 3 a.m. at any opportunity. And then I found this job that I loved, and life just almost like sense. I started to realize that I was unhappy in certain areas of my life, and I'd kind of been masking it for a long time. And then I just had this incredible place to work that truly changed my life and allowed me to, blossom. And career journey then saw me go from, I just started, I didn't even have a role because we were only 2 people. So it was like, just do whatever you can. I kind of did a bit of support, a bit of marketing, a bit of product, etc. And then my career journey saw me go from that and earning, I can't remember what my starting salary was, maybe like 25K, all the way up to ops director. I was earning 120 or was it 125K, I can't remember, with massive bonuses and shares, and like it was the job that enabled me to leave and start Fresh Leadership World, because I got such big bonuses that I was like thinking I'm gonna leave and start my own thing. All of that like just went on this journey of going from my job causing me so much misery and pain to finding a job that I love, then continuing to like that environment within the team, because as I got more and more senior, I was more responsible for everyone inside the team. And so therefore just wanted to continue to create those environments and like out these leadership principles that allowed people to be fulfilled and challenged at work. And that really is where Fresh Leadership World came from. So the reason that we're building a SaaS product, a piece of software, is over the last 2 years, the impact I've been able to have on businesses. Some of our clients include like Sony Music, Abercrombie and Fitch, Citibank, like some of the biggest businesses in the entire world. I have been inside training, consulting, implementing, like this one tomorrow. There's only one of me. And my voice, as much as I can try to amplify it through social media and these workshops on bigger scales and webinars and whatever, there truly is only one of me, and my reach does kind of get stunted at some point. And so the piece of software that we're building allows the impact that we create today, that I go in and deliver, that we get such great feedback, like has such incredible tangible impact inside these businesses in terms of leadership. We have now productized that and turned it into a piece of software. And when I say software, I'm not talking about a vibe coded app that I sat and worked into the hours of the night to do. I have invested in one of the best developers on the planet to build an incredibly solid tech that will transform businesses on like a ridiculous scale, because there is no limit to what we can do now. There's no limit to how many businesses we can impact and how many. The product itself, we will be doing lots of announcing soon. Tisha's just building out the launch plan. We're just getting a bit creative with it, so I don't want to give too much away. But the product itself is for managers. So it's putting the managers at the forefront. Managers are so underinvested in, and we know from statistics study that middle managers are literally the difference between your organization living or dying, between it thriving or feeling like a fucking mess because the founder has to do everything. And so this is a way for us to, as businesses, invest in our managers. You can either bring the product in as one individual manager, so an individual manager can use it with their team, or it can be used on a company level, which is where we will get to eventually. I want to talk about building in public, because there's so much online saying in public, bring your customers along for the journey. And whilst I had a really kind of hard look at myself back in November when we first brought the developer in to start building this, and I was like, do we bring people along? Like, we're doing crazy updates, we've got big things happening. Do we bring people along for the journey? I had to really take a good hard look in the mirror and say to myself, is this because it's helpful for marketing, or am I doing it because I want to look like I'm building something new and exciting? And the problem for me with building in public, I know building in public pays its dividends. Trust me, like, know that if I was able to do that, it would be incredible. The issue is, like, the core of everything, I am a nerd. I'm an ops nerd, I'm a systems nerd. And I know from my SaaS experience over the years of like selling businesses, teams inside SaaS businesses, the most important factor to software as to whether it lives or dies, the single most important thing is the quality of your product. It's the true impact that that product has inside a business. You can market it all you fucking want. If the product's shit, after a year, you'll just burn through all your customers. And so I really wanted to focus on creating, instead of focusing on marketing it and making it look good to the external world, spending 5 months like honing the craft of building the best piece of fucking software that exists for managers to level up themselves and therefore the businesses that they work in. And in order for me to do that, I needed to do it privately. Like, I needed to look ugly. I needed it to look messy. I needed it to be like being written all over and throwing it in the bin and not having to worry about the branding being rushed and perfect and not having to, think about scripting and storytelling, because all of that is so powerful. But I needed to focus on the product, customer research, features, like the customer journey, the hero journey inside the product. All of that had to have my undivided, perfect attention. Well, the risk, I guess, is just you're kind of not tapping into the marketing quite as much, but we can do that all in good time. And so this is why we've been building in private. This is why we've been keeping it a secret, because I needed the priority for me to be on the most exceptional piece of software that exists on the market. And we are up against Silicon Valley's biggest motherfucking products. Like, one of our competitors, and I say competitors, I don't really like to think about competitors because we're building an industry of one. I'm not looking at what our competitors are doing, but I do know one of our competitors is owned by the Altman brothers. So the Altman brothers being Sam Altman owns ChatGPT. So his brother owns one of our competitors. We have no external investment, so there's not a single penny that has been paid inside the new business other than what we've already generated in Fresh Leadership World. So I've invested some of my own cash and also some of the Fresh Leadership World business cash into getting this business set up. I've done that very intentionally. Like, could have gone out and raised probably $1 million, if not more, to build this piece of software because I have proven experience of building and selling software. I also have a huge audience that is very engaged and ready to buy this thing. So I knew I could get investment, but I didn't want to. And the reason for that is I just want to build it sustainably. Like, I think I've seen so many software businesses get huge investment and just burn through the cash. And I think not having investment forces this like constraint. It forces you to look at your own time and go, is this really worth it? It forces you to look at every single £500, £1,000 and go, is it really worth it though? Like, it's going to pay its dividends. And what that's enabled us to do is, so there's one thing we've been focusing on is the product. But the second we've been focusing on is the community that we build around the product. The community is going to be deeply ingrained into what we do. We do it quite well now at Fresh Leadership World, but we could do it so much more. So at the minute, we have our Slack community that's really highly engaged. People throw in leadership struggles. We have In the Making, which is less of a like, and more of, obviously it's my newsletter and blog, but we have lots of people kind of under them and sharing struggles with one another. Lots of people replying to me. But then we have our supper clubs. So we're running those. Keep an eye out. The tickets are coming out next week, maybe 2 weeks. We're having them at the end of April and early May. And obviously just like live streams, webinars, where we get everyone kind of each other in the comments. And so we've kind of done a good job at building almost like the underbelly of a community, but now we're ready to just fucking fire on all cylinders and get everyone. We want to lead like a manager revolution. And so there's the product, but then systemized inside the product is a community that we're building. And so things like a Slack community, Q&As where we bring experts in, supper clubs, meetups, all of that is being systemized within the product. So this is what Levi's been working heavily on, and Tisha's getting involved too, because we want to build the exceptional product and then build this almost like defensible community moat around it, because ultimately we're leveling up people. So you will hear from me very soon. Honestly, I've been holding back a little bit from doing the announcement because I'm like, there's just something else to get right. But we did launch the wait list for the first time. We mentioned it last week and we've already got hundreds of people on there. fucking crazy, but we are gonna really start kind of about what's happening. Something we're gonna do is bring, I think, businesses in. You know what, I'm gonna stop talking about it now and just keep an eye on my socials for the next couple of weeks because we'll be announcing it very soon. Thing to cover is we are gonna start a podcast. So I'm gonna start a podcast. We're going to see the podcast studio tomorrow, one in Manchester. It's going to be super simple, so it's not going to be a big, flashy, high production guests or anything like that. It's going to be so simple, like just like this. But I'm going to go to a production studio and sit and record. We're going to have them go out every single week, probably about half an hour each episode, just to keep it super simple to start with. Reason again, just being depth. And my idea with that podcast is that over the years, instead of getting like shiny guests, we bring in our community members. So we interview them, we hear their stories, we hear their struggles. And so that's the plan with it. Podcast, we're not, again, gonna do like a big juicy launch because I just wanna build the muscle. For me, it's consistency muscle is so much more important than doing like a big launch and getting shiny guests in. I think I just wanna get in front of the camera. Like this thing, I can't believe I used to sit in front of this camera every morning months ago when we were first building Fresh Leadership World, and it just trailed off. And so just building that again. So I think that's it for now. Maybe I need to commit to doing these more, but I daren't say it because I don't like saying something that I can't commit to. What you say you're gonna do, your word is so very sacred. But going back a step from that, your word is so sacred. Like there's a principle that I live by. Always do what you say you're gonna do. But what that also means is don't say the thing if you're not sure you can do it. And that's just the spark that I had in my brain. I was about to say, I'm gonna start doing these every week. And I was like, let's not commit. We're committing to the podcast. We're launching the product. We're doing the public speaking. Ciao, it's been beautiful. I will try my best to do one next week. This is another quote that goes through my head as well, which is Yoda, of all people. Do or do not, there is no try. And so if ever I say the word try, I'm like, I'll try to do this next week. I'm like, fucking do it. Or don't do it. There is no try. Thank you, Yoda. Ciao.